He wasn't included on that either.
Good afternoon, everyone. In celebration of Founders Week, the Honors Program and I would like to welcome you to the 17th annual last lecture. My name is Isabel Lara. I'm a sophomore psychology major, and I'm a member of the Honors Board. As the Honors Board works to craft and create a list of events that engage not only the Honors Program students but our entire CBU community, this event, the last lecture, has historically been remain one of our favorite events. The last lecture invites Christian Brothers University faculty to reflect deeply what matters to them. Through the opportunity to create a presentation, each speaker is presented with the opportunity to share their reflections, words of wisdom, and memories on their careers and life journeys. Today, the tradition and excitement continues with the opportunity to celebrate one of our beloved members of our Lasalle community, Professor Andrew Morgret. So please join me in welcoming Bree Joyner, my fellow host, to read the Professor Morgret bio.
Thank you. I'm trying not to do my imitation of Karnak, but I missed some coming up those steps. So anyway, I think I'm supposed to talk a little bit about accounting. Well, I'm going to try to give it a shot. You know, this is one of those, if you have a minute, tell me all, you know, tell us all you know or something. but anyway, I'm working with the basic accounting equation up here. And that's assets equals liabilities plus equity. And your assets are the resources that an individual or a business or owns or controls, and they're suspected to provide current and possibly future benefits to the business. That's on one side of the equation. That's it, assets. On the other side, you have liabilities and equity. Liabilities are the creditor's claims on the organization's assets, which will probably include a future payment of assets. If it's a customer, they're looking for products or services to be provided. And they do this to make good on the past transactions or events that got there. Equity is the owner's claim on the assets of the business. It's a residual interest after deducting the liabilities. So if you had assets subtracted liabilities, you would get equity and such. Now, we're going to get down here and look at revenues when we get on the next page and look at corporations, that's the increase in equity from a company's business activities that earns income. And they have a little note here, also known as sales. And then expenses are the outflows or the using up of your assets as part of the operation that generates those sales and such. Now, this is a sole proprietor, straight across. Assets equals liabilities plus equity. Notice that for each, I've given you a normal balance, how you increase it, and how you decrease it. And this first one, that's the basic accounting equation. If you don't know that by the second, and I'll give you the third time to come to class, you just might be in trouble. So anyway, now let's look at partnerships. They're a little more complicated here. Assets equals liabilities plus equity, but take a look at that equity. I just put two partners up there because that's about all the room I had. There are operations that are partnerships that have a whole heap of them all over. And every partner, no matter he, she, or it, because corporations can be partners as well, has an account, has a capital account that gets added to and you get taken away from too. So anyway, that last note there, even corporations can be partners. So anyway, okay, let's go on to number 3. Now, this is a corporation. And in 260, we will be dealing with corporations. So I want you to see how they're laid out. And it's right with the equity, which consists of two main areas. Contributed capital, that's the stock, whatever that has been issued, and the retained earnings. The sum of net income the corporation has made, less any dividends that have been paid to the shareholders. And you have to watch me a little bit because I'll say stockholder and then I'll say shareholder. And then we'll go from there. But anyway, notice that under retained earnings, we have 3 things. Revenues will increase retained earnings, while expenses and dividends will decrease it. Retained earnings, the sum of all net income the company has made or the corporation has made, less any dividends that have been paid to the stockholders. So anyway, that's that one. Now, in about 15 minutes or less than 15 minutes, I've pretty much given you the basis for 260, and then we start, once we get through with that, we start looking at the various assets, and I've listed them here. Current, and by their categories, current assets, long-term investments, property, plant, and equipment, and then intangible assets. The liabilities will be current or long-term. And look out if they're long-term, because they'll come back to get you if you don't watch out. Anyway. Now, I've got to this down momentarily.
Let's canceling.
Ma'am?
Cancel
Cancel?
that, and then minimize it.
I want to go this
There
way.
you go.
There.
Yeah. Now. This is one. Oh. Let's look at the general journal first. Now, I went ahead and made a journal entry there so you can just see how it works. Debits are to the left, credits are to the right. We debited cash, credited my capital account for $2,500. I put a little explanation there. I opened the bank account for my accounting practice. So anyway, once you've done that, you've got to go to your general ledger. And about the only thing that outranks a general ledger is probably general confusion, but we won't go into that. But anyway, there's my cash page of my ledger. Notice I have posted on the debit side a general journal page 1 and a debit of $2,500 and such. And now we go to this one right here on the credit side. I've credited it with $2,500, and that's my capital account and such. And oddly enough, when I get revenue, it increases. When I have expenses, it decreases. And to compound everything, if I take some money with me to go somewhere, it decreases as well. So look out. Anyway, now, how important is it to debit to the left and credit to the right? Answer that question. I'm going to get out a prop or props. These are my golf shoes. This is my left golf shoe. Front row. What does that say? DR, right? That's my debit shoe, yeah. And match it up. This is the right. What does that one say? CR, yeah. So now, if you don't know to debit to the left and credit to the right, come see me. I'll let you wear my golf shoes for a while. That maybe the only way some people can learn that. All right. Now, put those down and hope I don't fall over. This week is Masters Week in Augusta, Georgia. Let me talk to you a little bit about the 2014 Masters. A couple of weeks before, two students came up to me, and one said, my grandfather was taking us to the Masters tournament. Can we miss class? Well, actually, they were pretty good students. So, and after talking to them a little bit about it, I felt we'd probably be okay to let them loose, but on one condition. I asked them, bring me back a little something. Don't spend all kinds of money, a little something. So they came back, and this is my bag tag from the 2014 Masters tournament. It's on my golf clubs. How about that? Not only that, but in 2016, they went to the Ryder Cup in Hazleton, Minnesota, and that's my bag tag from the 2016. I didn't even have to ask for that. Okay. hope I've got all my notes. Ah! I'm good. I've got 3 pages, so I think I'm okay. I want to talk about a couple of people out who were here at CBU that I was aware of before I got here. The first was Dr. Margie Miller. Margie, I think it retired, what, about 2012, 2011? Along there. She and my wife got together, and as some of you know, my older daughter was a Down syndrome child and born in '72. And she had done everything in school she was supposed to do, except for one thing. She had not passed the math portion of the Tennessee proficiency exam. Janie, that's my wife, went to Dr. Miller. Dr. Miller found a person in the math department. This was a student, and the student coached Anne-Marie. And it didn't take, it took longer. It took about a year or so. But Anne-Marie finally passed the math portion of the Tennessee proficiency exam, and her special ed diploma became a normal diploma. She got a normal diploma, and I'm awfully proud of her. She was the first DS individual in Memphis to do that. So anyway, I'm wearing a pink shirt. She's here. So that's the other part. Sarah Pitts. Sarah was here. Matter of fact, Sarah called me. You want to come teach? Yeah, I guess so. This was after I retired from the University of Memphis. New dean came in, he didn't want instructors, so guess what? I got a free retirement. Anyway. Now, I won't tell you, Sarah, are you here? If Sarah's not here, I can tell this one. And I have to because it's her words. Sarah immediately went to Judy Lawrence, who was the lead accounting teacher. And she says, look what I found. Can we keep them? But I knew Sarah before she called me and said, you want to come teach? Sarah came to the University of Memphis and taught a year there for me when I was coordinating sophomore accounting. And she did a pretty darn good job too. I think the next year she got a job here, and that's actually worked out for the better for all of us. So anyway, now let's talk about there's good times and there's not so good times. Let me go through those. Two missing persons in my life. The first is my wife, Janie. You're going to discover that Janie was kind of the one between Janie and her father. They're the ones that got me straightened out and got me going. We met in February of '67, and we went to the circus on our first day. Yeah, and oh, you all are, you know, it's a circus. It was a circus from then on. Yeah, to the punch. But Janie was real good in that at Memphis, I was sort of just having a good time, taking some courses and singing in two groups out there, and then, time came, and she graduated, magna cum laude. And she went to work for the Cotton Carnival, and she had gotten some awards, and I worked in Michigan outside of Detroit during the summer. I was an intern for a company that did auto parts, and that was very interesting, and it made money. And as a matter of fact, back then, that I would use the money from that to pay the fall semester, and my parents would pay the spring semester, so we got along quite well. So anyway, we got engaged in July and married in November. And I had to tell the music department that I'm not going to do my singing anymore because I've got to get out of there in 2 semesters in 1 summer session or else. And there's about 3 people yelling that or else. It was my wife and her parents. So anyway. And her father was a professor of finance at Memphis. He also had a law degree. Anyway, and this is a little bit of how I wound up here too, because we got married. We moved to Michigan for a year. Janie hated the weather, so we moved back. And my father-in-law and mother-in-law were so glad they had a house fixed up for us down the street from them. And there we were, and I was working on a master's degree in guidance and counseling. Incidentally, when I graduated, now Jamie's was magna cum laude, mine was magna, thank goodness. And I got into grad school, not on my grades, but I did a sparkling admission test, something with Miller's analogy or something like that. I passed. I got, I think, double the required score. So anyway, so I got in that. I want to get this back to where I want it to go. There. How's that? Better?
Absolutely.
I'm gonna make it better. There. Yeah, there we go. So anyway, I'm working on the master's of education as a guidance counselor, and my father-in-law said, "Why don't you come and help me?" Oh, so yeah, I'm auditing the wage earner trustee in bankruptcy. So, oh, and geez, this was one now the first time he had done the random numbering. This is again DC before computers. You have to remember how we were going about this. But we had a CRC book that gave you all these mathematical tables that you could work, and one of them was a random number generator. So we did that, and I went into bankruptcy court and spent 2 weeks in the summer in the afternoons doing that, just having a ball. And everything. I remember one day, it was close to Christmas, and you had finished the fall semester at Memphis State, and so, so we went down and we needed to do a little more work on the audit. And I'm down there and they're coming in, they want refunds for Christmas. And you can't get refunds. Once you put money into that, it's in. So don't try to go get it because you can't have it because the trustee is trying to get you out of bankruptcy. And I think that's the name of the game. It's not to get you some Christmas money or something like that, your Christmas account or something like that. But anyway, they came in all morning like that. My father-in-law finally showed up. And I looked at him and said, I hope you got lunch money because these folks ain't gonna give you a dime. So we went on from there. Anyway, that went well. I got my first master's. I was a guidance counselor across the way in West Memphis. And after about 4 years, one day I told my principal, I said, I'm just gonna go look and see if I can find what's on the job market. He said, okay. And I ended up running on-campus registration at Memphis State the next semester. And this is when we had class cards. You had to go to each department and get a card for your course. And then you had a little deck of cards with your card. And you get you registered, and then they load the cards in the computer, and there we go. So anyway, and I did that for 3 years, and then I went and took my boss's job when he went to UT Martin, and I was associate dean of admissions and records for about 8 years. During that time, I'm working on my MBA in accounting. And after I got so far into that where I could, I was trying to pass the CPA exam. And this was back in the old paper and answer sheet and whatever. And I did that, and I think every time I sat, I passed one part. So after 4 times of sitting, I passed the exam. So, I'll do that. Go away. Little extra show for you. So anyway, I did that, got my master's, and in 86, after I got my master's degree, I had my CPA certificate. And the first job I got was associate director of the School of Accountancy, worst job I ever had. And after 3 years or so, the director fired me. And I took a little time thinking and such and kicked around, and they picked me back up in admissions and records, and I worked the conversion to Banner from the homemade system that we had running, and then did other things, and then went to what was then Shelby State. It was now it's part of Southwest Tennessee. And all this time, every spring or so, I would take a tax course or audit a tax course at the U of M in the School of Accountancy. And in, I want to say 97, I said, By the way, if you have a course that doesn't have an instructor and you think I could cover it, would you let me have a shot at it? And the associate dean of this college there said, sure. And about that tone too. I said, I'll never hear from him. You'll never have. And 2 days later, I come in from lunch, look on my desk, call Professor whoever. And I did, he said, were you serious? I said, yes, sir. He got a job. He got a class. Saturday morning, 9 to 12. Now, this is back when Car Talk was having a great run. And it came on at 9 o'clock on Saturday. So I walk into this classroom with about, I think we had 15 or 18, I can't remember. And I look around. The first thing I said was, you all gave up Car Talk for this? And we took off. And we had a great time. So anyway, got that taken care of. You see, let me go back. Come to daddy there. So I did that, and I did that in the spring, and then same professor said, you like doing this? I said, yes. You want to do it full time? Mm-hmm. And the paper had an ad, and I did all the stuff in March, got it into the dean's office. This was in about the middle of March. Nothing happened. April, nothing happened. About the 1st of May, he calls. You're gonna get a letter from the dean. Get it back, sign it, and get it back to us as soon as possible. They hired me for 1 year. And it came out okay, so they kept me for 2 more, and then I had 2 to 3 year stints. And then the new dean came in, and that didn't work. So, this is when Sarah stepped in and said, you want to teach? I said, and, we found candidate, so anyway. At the same time, my darling wife is starting to do silly things. Like I asked her to follow me, and I make a left turn, and she goes straight ahead in the car. And she's starting to have some real strange things. And about the 3rd year I was here, this is when it got serious, 3rd or 4th year. I came home after the convocation in August to check and make sure the air conditioning man was there. He was, she wasn't. So I put my 2 kids out, and Mimi and John, they're over here. And John found her and brought her back. And this happened another time at this time. So that Jamie had to, for the October, we had Andrew's birthday, and then the next day we put Jamie out at Foxwood. That was where she spent the rest of her time. So then to compound everything, in 2019, I'm teaching summer school. All is well until I get home one day and the garage door is open and the side door to the house is open. and I smell what seems to be smoke. From about my daughter had turned on the stove accidentally, and she didn't catch it. And the house had a pretty significant, we got a new kitchen in the back of the house, and Anne Marie got very burned up. And so we lost her the next month, which made things a little tough. So I think the only thing that kept me going was the fact that folks here sort of kept an eye on me and made sure everything I was doing okay. And they did a darn good job of doing that too, and I really appreciated it, because I could come here and teach or whatever I needed to do, and everybody would kind of look in on me and make sure that I was doing all right, which I really appreciated, especially during that time. So, kind of a down, whatever. So, may I change the subject?
Yeah.
Thank you. You ever notice two metal buildings across the street on Avery? That's what's left of the Naval Reserve Armory after Hurricane Elvis. Elvis blew the east end off the building. Golly, it's gone. So anyway, I joined the Marine Reserves in '59. Did my 6 months active duty as soon as I graduated from high school. I graduated from White Station, by the way. And that was an adventure. Came back, enrolled in Memphis State, and promptly flunked out. 2 semesters, man. And of course, parents were not happy. However, the Marine Corps came to the rescue. Do 2 years active duty. We will put you on the inactive reserve and discharge you honorably. I'll take them up on that. And I did. But they wanted me to be a truck driver. I didn't want to be a truck driver. I wanted to be in the van. So I went to my high school band director, and I had 2 of them because I transferred from East to White Station my junior year. Problem at East High was my sister got a great scholarship. My brother got an appointment to one of the military academies. What do you plan to do to top that, sir? I said, nothing. Boy, did I live up to it. So and we go out to White Station and meet the principal, who very nice man, Mr. Siler. And the first thing he says, well, before I became principal here, I taught math at East High, and your brother and sister did a lot of good things. I said, yeah, and that's the problem. and so he took me in, and we got to an okay and everything. So that got me through high school, and I played in the band. I was drum major, and I played timpani and percussion, and I had a great time, enjoyed it. And the time came to go in the band, and I said, let's get some. I got the letters from the 2 band directors, or 3 actually. Because Easton had 2, and both of them wrote. And I got out to Camp Pendleton. That's another one. They said, well, you can put in for the West Coast. You probably won't get it, but you can put in. And I put in for the West Coast, and I ended up at Camp Pendleton, California. So anyway, after about a week or 2, I was asked to see my platoon commander. showed me those letters and said, can you get me a tryout? And I see what I can do. But he got me the tryout, and I made it, and the day after Christmas was my first day in the first Marine Division band. I missed the '62 Rose Bowl parade, I'm sorry to say. I planned for '63, but they had planned for me to go to Japan, so. Anyway, so I was in the band and I had, you saw pictures out there of me in dress blues. Well, I got those dress blues in February of '62. And I took them home with me when I got a month off before I got shipped out to Japan. And I was told, don't bring the blues back because you're going to have to send them back because you will not need them in Japan. So I didn't, and they stayed there. And I think I wore them once in a while afterwards, but not that much. And in '93, I quit smoking, and that put me from a 34 waist to a 38 waist in about 6 weeks. So anyway, but from '62 to '63, I was a member of what was then the first Marine Air Wing Band, and they combined with the 3rd Marine Division Band, and they're now the 3rd Special Forces Group Band. So anyway, such. How are we doing on time? Oh, we're close. So that was my active duty, and in the '70s and '80s, I played on the sidelight and such. When I play around Christmas and New Year, or Christmas and Easter, and a couple of other times, and then in the '80s, I played with the Germantown Symphony. And all went well until I played a Messiah at '93, and I never heard the trumpets the whole night. And I said the hearing has gone to, wearing a handbasket. So it was time, and I did. So anyway, couple more, one more thing here. I see Tracy, you back there?
He's over here.
There you are. Got to talk about Tracy's work. Years ago, about 2012, 2013, right along in there, I went to a deal where you got to bid on things, and if you got the high bid, you won. And I wanted to get a chance to do the simulator at FedEx down on Airways there. Go one light past Winchester, turn right. And I won. I said, oh, good, our family will love it. Hell no, they didn't. It was no. And I was looking for someone to go, and Tracy went. We get there, get in. Tracy did wonderful. I had never seen anything like. She got in it. She flew that MD-11, I think. She flew that thing wonderful. Everything went fine. I get in there, and a little bit of my Marine Corps caught up with me. That little bit that said, if you break it, do you have to pay for it? I just sort of froze up. So she's great with it. And watch it, because if she comes into the room and starts singing Come Fly With Me, Get in the plane. Get in. Don't do anything, just get in the plane. So. Okay, that's about it for me. Any advice that I have on this campus? If you can, get to know a brother as soon as possible.
Yes.
Those brothers will get you out of thick and thin. And they do a wonderful job of doing it. And I know Brother Walter and I would sit at the back student mass, and I think we were known as the Statler and Waldorf of the student mass. But in such a lovely way, anyway. And the rest of it, thank you so much for putting up with me all these years. I've enjoyed it. I really have. And more, I think next year will probably do it for me, although I think if somebody makes a phone call and says, we need you, I'll probably be right there. Thank you again.
Well, we just wanted to say thank you so much again for joining us. We have a token of appreciation for Professor Andrew Morgret that we want to share. So next year.
Oh my God. Oh my gosh, you make a difference. 2024, last lecture, selected speaker, Professor Andrew Morgret.
Okay, so Dr. Church, she organized this,
Oh.
and this is from the School of Business.
Oh, thank you, gosh.
Yes, but yes, thank you so much again for everything you have done. We really appreciate you.
Oh,
Yes.
thank you. I have appreciated being here. This has been wonderful. And you realize I did this after 31 years down the street. I've enjoyed it so much more.
Thank you everyone for joining us today. We really appreciate you coming, and please feel free to mingle outside. There's lots of pictures and some treats and a way to write a thank you note to Professor Andrew Morgret. So take care and thank you again.
So I got to fly a simulator once, and I killed a whole bunch of people right around the Memphis airport in their houses. I crashed that thing straight into the ground. They have one in Southwest now, and they let me, they let me fly. It was not. I was so sick. Like I was just, I mean, the motion sickness just absolutely. Oh yeah. Oh, it was, yeah, no, oh, it's, yeah, oh my gosh, yes. Yeah. I felt bad killing all those people around the airport. wanna come up? Yeah. Okay.
And I didn't sing. You know, we said, oh.
Get my hands out of the way. Lunch break. I'm gonna run back to work. But yeah, Alright, ready, one.
Take a picture. I don't know. She is, okay, so. Okay, see you later.
Oh my God.
I just can't
Love it. May 4th, is that a Saturday? So that's the week,
Next thing.
Thank you. All right, we will look at our calendar. I think all we have on our calendar is grading, so we'll take an hour off and head out to Bartlett. Thank you so much. Wow. Yeah. No, I'm sorry. I guess I thought you said Sarah and Emma. Yes, I shouldn't have looked at that word. I'm all in it. Because now that's. Yeah, no, I asked Emma and she said she was on it. My bad. Yes, well. Yeah, I told you that I asked her. Yes.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Yes. Oh, good to see you guys. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Oh, yes, it's okay. I'll come back. for those things.
Are you drinking coffee? Oh. Only drink that well. Good.
Congratulations.
Thank you. You're all right?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Gil told me to come say hey to you.
Oh.
Yeah. Cards for him. Okay.